Assalamu alaikum, strong believers. This is Malik Bhai, and today we'll be talking about Iman, one of the most important aspects of our religion. Some of us translate it as belief or faith. Now, is knowing that Allah exists, is that good enough? Hint, even Shaitan believes in Allah, Satan believes in Allah, but he rejects him, and he's not considered a believer. So, more on this topic. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit subscribe. Click on the bell icon so you get notifications anytime I come up with new videos. Alright, strong believers. Hint, you should know if you're a strong believer, and I hope you stay strong, inshallah, then you should know what belief means. And this topic is very vast. We can talk a lot about what does it mean to believe. How do you strengthen your iman or your belief? How does it go weaken? But that's a lot. There's probably going to be more videos on those. But today, in a nutshell, we talked about it in the video of Islam in a nutshell. What does it mean to believe? But we're going to go dive more a little bit into it. A little bit more aspects. We're going to look at the topic of a belief from other angles as well. One of the ayahs in Quran talks about, and I'll read it very quickly in English, that whoever disbelieves in Allah, His angels, His books, His messengers, and the last day has certainly gone far astray. He's gone far lost. He's lost. So when we talk about Islam in a nutshell, we talk about that there's 6 pillars of faith. One of them is not in this ayah, which we'll talk about. It comes in other ahadith and so on, but it's also part of our belief system. Now this surah talked about Allah, right? We talked about number 1 important aspect of belief is Allah. Again, I'm not gonna have a talk about Allah right now because I want to make sure that my video is under 10 minutes or so, maybe a little bit over. But the topic about Allah is probably a lot of videos on its own. We can talk a lot about that, but that's one of the beliefs, right? Then we talked about believing in the angels. This ayah right here tells you that if you don't believe in angels, you are far lost. So believing in angels is the creation of Allah that is made out of light. It doesn't have any free will. That makes you strong believers, a very special creation of Allah, because you do have a free will and you choose to suppress your desires and make sure that you submit to Allah, which is Islam. Submission to Allah is Islam, and that is why you are considered a Muslim. So you submit to Allah because you have this free will to do whatever you want. You can do bad, you can do good. You have somewhat of a control over your decisions, and you choose to control those desires, and you choose to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and out of His love, and you fear his punishment. You don't want Him to be angry with you. So but angels do not have a free will, but they are doing different tasks around us, such as an example that I have given before too. Like there's angels who bring down your soul without your permission, but by Allah's permission. You did not have any permission, you did not have any say to come to this world, but it is a beautiful gift that Allah has given us. So that soul is coming down into your mother's womb. Heart starts beating, and then when it is time for you to die, then that angel or angel of death will come and take away your soul and take it back to Allah, right? More on this topic later, but there's angels created just to bring down rain, right? Angels created for different purposes. There's angels right now, right and left, writing every single thing that you are doing, good or bad. And then on the day of judgment, you will be presented with this, with your whole scroll's worth of action that you have done, good or bad, and you will be accounted for it. So a little bit about angels, but more on this topic. We can have another video on that later on. But believing in Allah, believing in the angels. Now these angels, one of the angels, Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually assigned to send down His message to communicate to mankind, and that is where it comes to believing in Allah, His angels, and His books. That's the message. It is coming down. Books, different books created for different. Basically, they all came with the same message. Okay, so Bible, Torah, Quran, Psalms. We have the scriptures of Prophet Ibrahim, and other names that we might not know, but every nation was given some way, form of revelation, some type of book, some type of code of conduct that they had to live accordingly, a law. But at the end of the day, the belief, these 6 pillars of Iman that I'm talking about, they don't change. Okay, what might have changed would be how you fast. How do you pray to Allah? Do you pray 5 times a day, or do you pray once a year? I don't know, but different nations were given different rituals, different codes, different do's and don'ts for their time. But now today we have to believe in Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, as the last prophet, and the Quran being the only revelation we need to live accordingly until the day of judgment. No prophet is going to come after Prophet Muhammad, but we still have to believe in all the scriptures and the prophets that came before Prophet Muhammad, such as Isa and Musa and Yusuf and Adam and Nuh and Lot or Lut. So these are all the prophets that are mentioned, and there's more, but you must believe in all of them. So Allah, angels, books or scriptures or messages, right? Messengers, the prophets, the human beings who were representative on this earth, and they were getting the revelation from Allah, and then they will pass on this message to their community. Prophet Muhammad is not around us. There's no prophet who's going to come after him, so it is our responsibility. Hence, Malik Bhai is making these videos, so whatever information, any knowledge that I have that I can share with you guys share with others as well. And hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of these videos, and make sure you share this message. Now, after these messages, but they all brought the same message, which talked about the last day, the day of judgment. You must believe in the day of judgment, the afterlife, that you will be judged according to, remember, these angels who are writing everything, and you will be and it will be presented in front of Allah. You're basically in a court, and then it will be decided whether you're going to paradise or hellfire. So all part of our belief. And the last one, a whole topic on its own, number 6, Qadr, right? The divine decree of Allah. Anything good or bad happens is according to God's will, according to Allah's will. Now, let's go back to, is it just enough knowing that Allah exists? And yep, I believe in angels and everything. Is that enough? And say, yep, I'm a believer, right? All these 6 pillars, you're like, I got it, 100%, deep down the heart, firm belief. You know what? Prophet Muhammad, I'm a little bit, not sure 100%, but 99.9. Well, that 0.1% is missing. Not a believer. You got to have firm belief that Allah exists, and you should only worship Him alone. Angels, message, prophets, right? The last day, and the divine decree of Allah. You must have a good, strong knowledge of that, and say, yep, okay, I have strong conviction. This is it. I'm a believer. Now what? That's not enough, because you know what? You have Iblis or Satan. He believes in Allah. He believes in angels, right? He probably has more knowledge than all of us. But does that make you a believer? You gotta have some form of action. You can't just keep your belief in your heart. That's just knowledge. So knowledge is not believing. Okay, just because you know something does not mean that you believe. Belief should also be confirmed with tongue. Okay, it should be talked about as well. You shouldn't just keep it inside. And it should also show on your actions. Okay, so believing is knowledge, knowing all the 6 pillars that I talked about, knowing Allah exists, knowing that knowledge. But now that you have that, so then the next part is reciting with your tongue. Now, is that also enough? Close, but you should also have some form of action as well. And that's where the 5 pillars of Islam, which we'll talk about later, it comes in. Those are the minimum requirement you should be doing, but there should be some form of action. You can't just say, oh, I believe, and I'm saying with my tongue, yep, I'm a Muslim, I'm a believer. That is not enough, because, now check this out. There's a surah. Now, if you have memorized this, or as a parent, we teach our children to recite the surah, because it's a very short surah. Okay, Surah Asr, Wal Asr, right? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Wal Asr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by time. Okay, Innal insana lafi khusr, that the whole mankind, okay, not just Muslim, not just disbeliever, just the mankind by default is in khusr, is in loss. They're destroyed. They're just destroyed. except. Okay, so first you said, okay, by default we're in destruction, we're destroyed, we're in loss, except what? Okay, all right, illa ladina amanu, except the ones who believe. The surah could have just stopped right there, but it didn't. It keeps going. That it's not just the ones who believe. Okay, so first of all, you're in loss, but you must believe. Illa ladina amanu wa amilu salihat, and the ones who do good things. Okay, good deeds. So you should not just know these 6 pillars. Say it with your tongue that you believe in it. Okay. First your conviction with the heart, pronunciation with your tongue, and then to show action with your limbs, with your hands and your feet, with your forehead. Are you doing sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Are you praying 5 times a day? Are you fasting? Are you giving charity when you have so much money that Allah gave you? Are you giving it out to other people? Are you going once in the lifetime to the house of Allah? Those are the 5 pillars that I'm talking about. Are you fasting in the month of Ramadan? Right? All of those things are important. So let's talk about believe in the heart should be done with fear, okay, with hope and love as well. So you should have love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're doing all these good things because you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you want to please Him. At the same time, you're hoping for His mercy. You hope that He forgives you for any shortcomings that you have. You are hoping for His reward, that He gives you the highest level in Jannah. Right? That's the mindset that you should have. And at the same time, you should have fear of Him as well. And it's a good fear. It's not the fear of a lion that, man, this guy's gonna hurt me. It's the fear that, man, I don't want to displease my Creator, the Creator who created me for a purpose. He sent me down to this world. I want to make sure that I am. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to make Him angry, right? Because if He's angry with me, if He's not happy with me, I fear that. And that's why I make sure that I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not watching anything I'm not supposed to do. I'm not listening to anything I'm not supposed to do. I'm not missing out on my prayers that I'm supposed to do, and all the other aspects of life that He has told me, the do's and don'ts. I fear that He will be angry with me. So on the day of judgment, will I be able to face my Creator? Not just my Creator, the Creator of the heavens and the earth. So fear, hope, and love is important. Believing in the 6 pillars of faith that I have talked about is important. That's part of the belief, and you should believe in your heart, recite with your tongue, tell people that you believe, and it should show with your actions that you are a believer. So with that, this is it. Malik Bhai signing off. Stay strong, and inshallah we'll see you in our next video. Assalamu alaikum.